Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge for the second weekend of December. We have with us today myself, John, Maggie, Shelia, Ted, and Danielle. Let's see. Let me get the wheel. The first up today is Ted, and then Danielle is on deck. We'll go after him. Let's bring up the Ted. We missed you last week. We're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Going to go this time based on the randomly selected order. Let me find the wheel, and let's see what Ted is going to do to start us off for today's round of Wheel of Shakespeare. Here we go. Here's the wheel. Let's give it a spin. Ted can do whatever he wants. What would you like to do?
I want to do one of the prologues. Maybe it's hold on. I believe. Okay. Henry V prologue, Act 1.
Okay. Let me put that in. Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the part of Mars, and at his heels, leached in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million. And let us, ciphers to this great accompt, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs in the apert receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings. Carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me, chorus, to this history, who, prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Very nice. Can't remember where, but I remember reading something where it said that it's a commentary on that play where it's interesting that you would never expect that a storyteller role would be a role that so many actors would love to play, because it's just really just basically a narrator, and it is really a great role. The way just introducing every act with the prologues, and that first one's very powerful, and Ted did a great job with it. So anyway, Danielle is next, and Bill, who just joined us, will go after her. Danielle, welcome back. You
Hello.
will perform Constance, gone to be married, from King John. That's at the start of Act 3, Scene 1.
John 3:1. Righty-ho.
Got it?
I have, thank you.
Okay.
Gone to be married, gone to swear a peace. False blood to false blood joined, gone to be friends. Shall Louis have Blanche and Blanche those provinces? It is not so. Thou hast misspoke, misheard. Be well advised. Tell thy tale again. It cannot be. Thou dost but say 'tis so. I trust I may not trust thee, for thy word is but the vain breath of a common man. Believe me, I do not believe thee, man. I have a king's oath to the contrary. Thou shalt be punished for thus frighting me, for I am sick and capable of fears, oppressed with wrongs, and therefore full of fears. A widow, husbandless, subject to fears. A woman naturally born to fears. And though thou now confess thou didst but jest with my vexed spirits, I cannot take a truce, but they will quake and tremble all this day. What dost thou mean by shaking of thy head? Why dost thou look so sadly on my son? What means that hand upon that breast of thine? Why holds thine eye that lamentable room like a proud river peering o'er his bounds? Be these sad signs confirmers of thy words? Then speak again, not all thy former tale, but this one word, whether thy tale be true. Scene.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
you.
Bill is up next, and then Sheila is on deck. I think Brandon just joined us, so that's good. I got one more. Bill, you will do. Bottom's Green, Midsummer Night's Dream. It's the very end of Act 4, Scene 1.
Act 4, Scene 1.
He's just woken up. And
What are the first words?
geez, I'm not sure. I gave a title to the monologue. I didn't go by the first. Let me see if I can.
Oh, I see. Awaking. Okay.
Yeah, so it would be. From,
Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go.
When my cue comes, call me and I will answer. My next is Most Fair Pyramus. Hey ho, Peter Quince, flute, the bellows maker, snout, the tinker, starveling. God's my life, stolen hence and left me asleep. I had a most rare vision. I've had a dream, past the wit of man to say what dream it was. Man is but an ass if he go about to expound this dream. Methought I was, there's no man can tell what. Methought I was, and methought I had, but man is but a patched fool if he will offer to say what methought I had. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen, the man's hand is not able to taste, the tongue to conceive, nor his heart to report what the dream was. I will to Peter Quince to write a ballad of this dream. It shall be called Bottom Stream, because it, it hath no bottom. And I will sing it in the latter end of a play before the due, peradventure to make it the more gracious. I shall sing it at her death. Scene.
Okay, very nice. So up next, let's see, Shelia. Shelia's up next, then Maggie, then myself. There she is. So Shelia is going to do On the King. I know we're going to see two great monologues from Henry V this time. And if you like, you can make that a slightly longer where there's begins with Upon the King, long monologue, and then Sir Thomas Erpingham, I think, comes in and talks to him briefly, and then he resumes his monologue with praying. You can just skip the Erpingham part and make it a longer monologue. It kind of keeps the continuity. It's up to you, though. You can end when Erpingham enters, or you can skip to the part after he leaves again.
Okay. All right. I am ready.
Okay.
Indeed, the French may lay 20 French crowns to one. They will beat us, for they bear them on their shoulders. But it is no English treason to cut French crowns, and tomorrow the king himself will be a clipper. Upon the king. Let us, our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all, oh, hard condition, twin-born with greatness, subject to the breath of every fool whose sense no more can feel but his own wringing. What infinite heart ease must kings neglect that private men enjoy? And what have kings that privates have not too, save ceremony? And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? What kind of God art thou that suffered more of mortal griefs than do thy worshippers? What are thy rents? What are thy comings in? O ceremony, show me but thy worth. What is thy soul of adoration? Art thou aught else but place, degree, and form, creating awe and fear in other men, wherein thou art less happy being feared than they in fearing? What drinkst thou oft instead of homage sweet, but poisoned flattery? Oh, be sick greatness, and bid thy ceremony give thee cure. Thinkst thou the fiery fever will go out with titles blown from adulation? Will it give place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou commandest the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream, that playest so subtly with a king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the bomb, the scepter, and the ball, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the intertissued robe of gold and pearl, the farced title running for the king, the throne he sits on, nor the tide of pomp that beats upon the high shore of this world. No, not all these thrice gorgeous ceremony, not all these laid in bed majestical can sleep so soundly as the wretched slave who with a body filled and vacant mind gets him to rest, crammed with distressful bread, never sees horrid night, the child of hell. But like a lackey from the rise to set, sweats in the eye of Phoebus, and all night sleeps in Elysium. Next day after dawn doth rise and help Hyperion to his horse, and follows so the ever-running year with profitable labor to his grave. And but for ceremony, such a wretch, winding up days with toil and nights with sleep, had the forehand advantage of a king. The slave, a member of the country's peace, enjoys it, but in gross brain little wots what watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose hours the peasant best advantages. Scene.
Hey, very nice. So now we have Maggie, and then myself, then Brannon, then John, and then we'll start our scenes. And we've got 8 people with us today, so we have enough. The other larger scene that we were discussing possibly doing last week, we'll do that, plus 2 others randomly. We'll do the Much Ado About Nothing scene, and 2 others that the wheel will decide. Okay. I'm saying Maggie is going to do doubtful it to the sergeant in Macbeth.
It's kind of, there's a few little speeches spread out. Should I try to?
You can make that one a continue. You can. I think it starts with doubtful it stood, and then
Yes. There's like 3 of them.
Questions, and he continues with his account of the battle. You can skip to that to keep the flow going. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. Doubtful it stood, as 2 spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art, the merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of kerns and gallow glasses is supplied, and fortune, on his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak, for brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune, with his brandished steel, which smoked with bloody execution like valor's minion, carved out his passage till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade him farewell, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chaps, and fixed his head upon the battlements. As whence the gun gins his reflection, shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break, so from that spring whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark. No sooner justice had with valor armed compelled these skipping kerns to trust their heels, but the Norwegian lords, surveying vantage with furbished arms and new supplies of men, began a fresh assault. As sparrows, eagles, or the hare, the lion, if I say sooth, I must report, they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks, so they doubly redoubled strokes upon the foe. Except they meant to bathe in reeking wounds, or memorize another Golgotha, I cannot tell. But I'm faint. My gashes cry for help.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so it's my turn, and then Brannon is on deck. Brannon, you'll go after me. First, I am going to do... Ooh, I hate the more. Practically off book with this one, but I will bring it up just... Put money thyself in thy purse. Thus do I ever make my fool my purse. For I mine own gain knowledge should profane, if I would time expend with such a snipe. But for my sport and profit. I hate the more. And it is thought abroad that twixt my sheets he has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I for mere suspicion in that kind will do as if for surety. He holds me well. The better shall my purpose work on him. Cassio's a proper man. Let me see now. To get his place and to plume up my will in double knavery. How? Let's see. After some time, to abuse Othello's ear that he is too familiar with his wife. He hath a person and a smooth disposed to be suspected, framed to make women false. The more is a free and open nature that thinks men honest that but seem to be so, and will as tenderly be led by the nose as asses are. I have it. It is engendered. Hell and night must bring this monstrous birth to the world's light. Okay, scene. Now, Brannon. Okay, you're up, and you're muted, so you need to fix that.
Unmute myself.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Othello 1, 3.
Okay, so Brannon is going to do...
Yeah,
Certainly my conscience will serve me to the plea of you. Merchant of Venice, Act 2, Scene 2.
Okay. I just lost my Shakespeare. Certainly my conscience will serve.
Yeah, it starts with that.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew, my master. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobo, Lancelot, good Lancelot, or good Gobo, or good Lancelot, Gobo, use your legs, take the start, run away. Oh, my conscience says, no, take heed. Honest Lancelot, take heed. Honest Gobo, or as I foresaid, honest Lancelot Gobo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me pack. Via, says the fiend, away, says the fiend, for the heavens rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run. Well, my conscience, hanging around the neck of my heart, says very wisely to me, my honest friend Lancelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, for indeed my father did something smack, something grow to. He had a kind of taste. Well, my conscience says, Lancelot, budge not. Budge, says the friend. Budge not, says my conscience. Conscience, say I. You counsel well, fiend, say I, you counsel well, to be ruled by my conscience. I should stay with the Jew, my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil, and to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend who, saying your reverence, is the devil himself. Certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnal, and in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience to offer to counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel. I will run, fiend. My heels are at your command. I will run. See.
Okay, very nice. Our last monologue will be done by John before we start our scenes. And John is going to do... Prince Hal. I know you. It was last week we did Prince Hal and Falstaff. This is him at the very end of this of that scene that we did last week, reflecting on how he's going to clean up his act soon.
What was the act and scene there again, please?
Act 1, Scene 2. It's at the very end, where he directly addresses the audience.
Act 1, Scene 2.
Falstaff leaves.
Oh. Oh, what is the first line again, please? I'm sorry.
I think you all know me. I think that's how it starts. I believe.
Oh, no, I know you all.
I know you all. Yeah. Okay, so you ready?
No, I may be in the wrong scene. Act 1, Scene 2, you said?
Yeah, Henry IV, Part 1.
Oh, I got the wrong play. Sorry. Okay. Act 4.
Act 1, Scene 2.
Okay, Henry IV, Part 1, right? Okay. And then Act 1, Scene 2.
you all.
Okay, I have it here. I'm trying to figure. Okay, well, this will be sort of cold, I guess. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein I will imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mist of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So, when I loose behavior I throw off and pay the debt I never promised. By how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes. And like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation glittering o'er my fault, shall now more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will. See.
Hey, very nice. Now for our scenes, I see that we just lost Danielle, unfortunately. So I said 8 is the magic number. I've decided on 8 is the magic number. When we have that many people, we'll do a larger scene, because that, with 4 characters in it, that still leaves, we can still do 3 scenes. We have 2 more 2-character scenes for the other 4. But since we have 7 of us now, we'll hold on the much ado scene till we get 8 or more again, and we'll just spin for 3 scenes. And if there's an odd man or woman out, they'll do an extra monologue. Okay, so our scenes will be Richard. Oh yeah, this is good. We did this before. I just kicked it out of retirement. So there's 3 people in this. That might take care of the. So Richard the Third. Sorry, Richard the Second. Sorry, Act 4, Scene 1. We have King Richard, Bolingbroke, and so that we can do just 3 characters with this, the Duke of York and the Earl of Northumberland, I'm combining them into 1 character. So York / Northumberland will be the 3rd character, who's commenting on what's going on between the current king and the deposed king. Midsummer Night's Dream, Demetrius and Helena. Act 2, Scene 1, Demetrius and Helena. And the 3rd scene for the final 2 of us. Macbeth, Act 4, Scene 3, Malcolm and Macbeth planning the rebellion. And it's perfect. So one of the 3 scenes that came up was a 3-person scene. So, but the 3 scenes, we've got roles for exactly 7 people. So again, the roles we're going to choose from, and the choices will be made in the opposite order of the monologue. So John gets to choose first. We have the Richard II, Act 4, Scene 1, former King Richard, current King Henry IV, Bolingbroke, and then the Duke of York, who will also take Northumberland's lines for economy purposes. Then we have Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1, Demetrius and Helena. Then we have Act 4, Scene 3 of Macbeth with Malcolm and Macduff. That's, I think, until I think Ross enters, and we'd stop there. It's just Malcolm and Macduff until that point. So John gets the first choice amongst those roles. What would you like?
Well, I'm going to go with the one that I think I'm most familiar with, and that's Helena. So we'll go find a wig.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Next choice, Brannon gets to choose next. Brannon, what would you like to be?
Henry Bolingbroke.
Bolingbroke, okay. And then I will take Richard, your cousin that you just opposed. And let's see, Maggie's next choice. Maggie,
let's see. Then I think I will. I'll be Demetrius to John's Helena.
Great. Role reverse, gender reversal for both of you. Sheila,
just a quick question. The Richard the second scene is the second half of that scene, right? It's not the whole scene.
Let's see. I think it's the beginning, and I'll have to take a look. Let me.
Well, because I'm confused, I'm going to do Malcolm.
Okay. Sheila. Bill, what would you like?
How about Macduff?
Macduff. And then that leaves and so that leaves Ted. Ted will take York and Northumberland. Okay, so let's find where we're going to start with in this. We did this one several months ago with different actors, but I think I commented this is the one scene that the deposition of the king. This is the one. The censors were strict in some areas. The trivia about this is the one scene that was never performed in Shakespeare's lifetime. The censors would not allow it. Dangerous to illustrate. Let's find. So Richard II, Act 4, Scene 1, Westminster Hall. Yeah, you're right. Sheila was right. There is a first part with Bagot, and I think we would start it with Duke of York as announcing, "Hail King Henry IV of that name." He would introduce the scene, and but there's other people. Start. Sorry about this. I'm having to figure out where to. Maybe I thought I knew where this started. It's messed up. Maybe we should start with one of the other scenes, and then the three of us can, and while they're performing, figure out where we start. See, Maggie and John. Let's see if they're ready to go with their scene.
Did you find it, John?
Yes, I did. Are
you ready to go?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so why don't you go first while I'm looking for the right place to start with the Richard II deposition. Let's see. Maggie, create the Demetrius and Helena.
Oops, I put something in the chat and it's wrong. So anyway, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
I love thee not, therefore pursue me not. Where is Lysander and fair Hermia? The one I'll slay, the other slayeth me. Thou toldst me they were stolen unto this wood, wood within this wood, because I cannot meet my Hermia. Hence, get thee gone, and follow me no more.
You draw me, you hard-hearted adamant, but yet you draw not iron, for my heart is true as steel. Leave you your power to draw, and I shall have no power to follow you.
Do I entice you? Do I speak you fair? Or rather, do I not in plainest truth tell you I do not love you, nor I cannot love you?
And even for that I do love you the more. I am your spaniel, and Demetrius, the more you beat me, I will fawn on you. Use me but as your spaniel, spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me, only give me leave, unworthy as I am, to follow you. What worser place can I beg in your love, and yet a place of high respect with me, than to be used as you use your dog?
Tempt not much the hatred of my spirit, for I am sick when I do look on thee.
And I am sick when I look not on you.
You do impeach your modesty too much to leave the city and commit yourself into the hands of one that loves you not, to trust the opportunity of night and the ill counsel of a desert place with the rich worth of your virginity.
Your virtue is my privilege, for that it is not night when I do see your face. Therefore I think I am not in the night. Nor doth this wood lack worlds of company, for you in my respect are all the world. Then how can it be, said I am alone, when all the world is here to look on me?
I'll run from thee and hide me in the brakes and leave thee to the mercy of wild beasts.
The wildest hath not such a heart as you. Run where you will, the story shall be changed. Apollo flies, and Daphne holds the chase. The dove pursues the griffin, the mild hind makes speed to catch the tiger, bootless speed when cowardice pursues and valor flies.
I will not stay thy questions. Let me go, or if thou follow me, do not believe, but I shall do thee mischief in the wood.
I, in the temple, in the town, the field, you do me mischief. Fie, Demetrius, your wrongs do set a scandal on my sex. We cannot fight for love as men may do. We should be wooed and were not made to woo. I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell to die upon the hand I love so well. Scene, I believe.
Okay, good job. Okay, so I figured out how I planned to do this one when I put it on the wheel. Brandon and Ted, what we'll do is let's start from when the Duke of York enters to announce the new king. Bolingbroke is now long live Henry IV of that name. And Bolingbroke says, great, I'll ascend the regal throne. The Bishop of Carlisle launches into his condemnation of what's going on. We'll just cut that because that's great. That's on the monologue wheel already as a great monologue. So we'll start with Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from Plume Buck Richard. You guys got that? And then Bolingbroke says, I'll ascend the regal throne, and then fetch hither Richard. So we'll skip the part where Carlisle shoots off his mouth, and then Northumberland says, you're under arrest for saying that. So that makes sense. We'll say, I'll say, you, Brannon, is Bolingbroke. You'll say, in God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne. fetch hither Richard. Make sense?
I'm trying to find it.
I'm trying to find it too. Okay, Duke of York.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
So we'll start from Great Duke of Lancaster.
I have it.
Okay. Okay, let me get the banner, and then I'll put Ted center stage to give the speech to start it off. Okay, go ahead.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Harry, fourth of that name.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne. What?
Who is Carlisle? Well, have you argued?
Oh, okay. Let's stop. That's why I was saying Carlisle is the part we're going to skip because that's on the wheel already as a monologue. It's great in its own right as his ranting against that, and then he gets arrested. So I said, Brannon as Bolingbroke will say, "I'll ascend the regal throne," and then follows that thought with "fetch hither Richard." So skip the next two lines, and then it's just the three of us. And remember, also, so it's just the three of us. Ted is doing both Northumberland and Duke of York. We're pretending they're the same character.
Okay. Sorry.
The same Bolingbroke loyalist who is loyal to him in deposing me. So I don't know if we're clear now. We'll go ahead and we'll start over again with Ted announcing Bolingbroke.
Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Harry, fourth of thy name.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
Well, have you argued, sir? And for your pains of capital treason, we arrest you here, my lord of Westminster. Be it your charge to keep him safely till this day of trial. Make it please you, lords, to grant the commons suit.
Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender, so we shall proceed without suspicion.
I will be his conduct.
Lords, you that are here under our arrest, procure your sureties for your days of answer. Little are we beholding to you your love, and little looked for at your helping hands.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my limbs. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favors of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, "All hail to me"? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000 none. God save the king. Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he. And yet, amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I called forth hither?
To do that office of thine own good will, which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin. Seize the crown. On this side, my hand, on that side, yours. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes two buckets filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen and full of water. The bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs, whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories and my state depose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of these.
Part of your me with your crown.
Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care, by old care done. Your care is gain of care, by new care won. The cares I give I have, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
No, for I must nothing be. Therefore, now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand, the pride of kingly sway from out my heart. Mine own tears I wash away my heart. With mine own hands I give away my crown. With mine own tongue deny my sacred state. With mine own breath release all duty's rights. All pomp and majesty I do forswear. My manners, rents, revenues, and forgo. My acts, decrees, lands, statues I deny. God pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. Make me that nothing have, with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased, and hast all achieved. Long mayest thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthly pit. God save King Henry. Unkinged Richard stays, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more, but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of men may deem that you are worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved up folly? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offences were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article containing the deposing of a king, and cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot, damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that stand and look upon, whilst that my wretchedness doth bait myself, as some of you with Pilate wash your hands, showing an outward pity. Yet you, Pilate, have here delivered me to my sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin.
My Lord Dispatch, read o'er these articles.
Mine eyes are full of tears. I cannot see. And yet salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base and sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant.
My lord.
No lord of thine. Thou hot, insulting man. No man's lord. I have no name, no title. No, not that name was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack, the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery king of snow, standing before the son of Bolingbroke to melt myself away in water drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go, some of you, and fetch a looking glass.
Fiend, thou tormentest me ere I come to hell. Fiend, thou tormentest me.
Urge it no more, my lord Northumberland.
The commons will not then be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. I'll read enough. When I do see the very book indeed, where all my sins are writ, and that's myself. Give me the glass, and therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet? Hath sorrow struck so many blows upon this face of mine, and made no deeper wounds? O flattering glass, like to my followers in prosperity thou dost beguile me. Was this the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that like the sun did make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in this face, as brittle as the glory is the face. But there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of this sport, how soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again. The shadow of my sorrow. Ha! Let's see. 'Tis very true. My grief lies all within, in these external manners of laments, and merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance. And I thank thee, king, for thy great bounty. Not only givest me cause to wail, but teachest me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon, and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin. I am greater than a king. For when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
Shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will, so I were from your sights.
Oh, go, some of you, convey him to the tower.
Oh, good. Convey. Conveyors are you all. It rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourself.
Okay, that's fine. Lastly, we have Malcolm and Macduff. So those are Bill and Sheila. Okay, you're both ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms out.
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and, like good men, bestride our downfall and birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
What I believe I'll wail, what no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to, friend, I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. You have loved him well, yet not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry god.
I am not treacherous.
And Macbeth is. A good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge, but I shall crave your pardon. That which you are, my thoughts cannot transpose, and angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Though all things foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Perchance, even there where I did find my doubts, why, in that rawness left your wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love without leave taking? I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonors, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whate'er I shall think.
Bleed, bleed, poor country, great tyranny, lay thou thy basest shore, for goodness dare not check thee, wear thou thy wrongs, the title is afeard. Fare thee well, Lord, I would not be the villain that thou thinkst, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot.
Be not offended, I speak not as an absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right, and here from gracious England have I offer of good thousands. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer in more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice, so grafted that when they shall be oped, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
Oh, I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name. But there's no bottom, none. In my voluptuousness, your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust and my desire. All continent impediments would o'erbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth than such as one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwink, we have willing maids enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined.
Within this there grows in my most ill-composed affection such a staunchless avarice that were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce to make me hunger more. That I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth.
This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious root than summer-seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet, do not fear. Scotland has poisons to fill up your will of your own, and all these are portable with other graces weighed.
But I have none. The king becoming graces as justice, verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting it many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell. Uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland.
If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. Oh, nation miserable with an untitled tyrant bloody sceptered, when thou shalt see thy wholesome days again, since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed, and does blaspheme his breed. Thy royal father was a most sainted king. The queen that bore thee oftener upon her knees than on her feet died every day she lived. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. Oh, my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth by many of these trains hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-credulous haste. But God above deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself to thy direction and unspeak my own detraction. Here, abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself, for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to women, never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own. At no time broke my faith. Would not betray the devil to his fellow, and delight no less in truth than life. my first fault speaking was this upon myself. What I am truly is thine and my poor country's to command. Whither indeed before here approach old Seward, with 10,000 warlike men already at a point, was setting forth. Now, we'll together, and the chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once. It's hard to reconcile.
Enter the doctor. Okay, great job, you two. Great performances, everybody, today. It's very nice. And I look forward to seeing you guys again, same time next week. Bye now.